Alright guys, let's be real. The smartphone camera wars just reached a massive boiling point. This is the Vivo X300 Pro. It's got a 200 megapixel telephoto lens, a brand new 3nm chipset, and a design that looks more like a professional DSLR than a mobile phone. But here's the catch. For my viewers in the US, this isn't a phone you can just walk into a Best Buy and pick up. And for those in Europe, there is a serious battery trade-off you need to hear about before you hit that buy button. Is this the ultimate gray market import for photography nerds? Or should you just stick with the safe bets from Apple and Samsung? Let's dive deep into the Vivo X300 Pro, starting with the build and design. Vivo has really leaned into this camera-first aesthetic. The first thing you notice is that massive Zeiss-branded camera housing on the back. It's bold, it's heavy, and it demands attention. The back panel is a beautiful frosted glass that feels like silk and, thankfully, doesn't pick up a single fingerprint smudge. The frame is a flat, high-grade aluminum that makes the device feel incredibly premium. Though at 226 grams, you're definitely going to feel the weight in your pocket. One thing I love, they've added a dedicated hardware shortcut button on the side. You can map it to your flashlight, the camera, or even a silent mode. It's a small touch that makes a huge difference in daily use. Plus, this thing is built like a tank. It's rated at both IP68 and IP69. That means it's not just protected against a drop in the pool, but it can literally withstand high pressure, high-temperature water jets. Moving to the front, we have a 6.7 to 8-inch LTPO AMOLED display that is, quite frankly, stunning. We're looking at a peak brightness of 4,500 nits. To put that in perspective, even under the direct, harsh afternoon sun, this screen is perfectly legible. The 1260p resolution hits that sweet spot of being razor-sharp without killing your battery life. And because it's LTPO tech, the refresh rate is incredibly smart. It flies at 120 Hz when you're gaming or scrolling through Twitter, but it can drop all the way down to a single hertz when you're looking at a static photo to save power. And for security, Vivo is using a 3D ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. Unlike the optical sensors on most phones that flash a bright light at your thumb, this is instant, it works with wet fingers, and it's significantly more secure. Now let's talk about the brain of the operation. The X300 Pro is rocking the MediaTek Dimensity 9500. Now, I know some of you in the States might be skeptical of anything that isn't Snapdragon, but MediaTek is playing for keeps this year. This is a 3nm powerhouse that in our benchmarks absolutely trades blows with the best from Qualcomm. In everyday apps, it's lightning fast. However, there is a caveat. When we pushed this phone with heavy 3D gaming and stress tests, we saw some significant thermal throttling, dropping down to about 50% of its peak performance. After 20 minutes, it stays cool to the touch, but it does that by pulling back the power. On the software side, we finally see Origin OS 6 making its way to the global stage on top of Android 16. It's a massive departure from the old Fun Touch OS. It feels very Apple-esque. You've got the Origin Island, which mimics the dynamic island for your timers and music, and the control center is full of those translucent bubbly toggles. They've even added a motion prompt feature to help passengers in cars avoid motion sickness by putting moving dots on the screen. It's quirky, but it works. And for the first time, Vivo is promising 5 years of major OS updates and 7 years of security patches, which finally puts them in the big leagues of software support. Alright, let's get to the main event, the cameras. We have a 50 megapixel main, a 50 megapixel ultra-wide, and that monstrous 200 megapixel telephoto. The main sensor is incredible. It produces some of the most natural, lifelike skin tones I've seen on any smartphone. But the 200 megapixel zoom is the real reason you're here. At 3.5x optical zoom, the detail is staggering. But what's even cooler is the macro capability. Because it can focus as close as 14 centimeters, you can get these stunning, professional-grade close-ups of flowers or textures with a beautiful, natural background blur that software just can't fake. If you want to go even further, Vivo sells a separate photography kit with a physical grip and a telephoto extender lens that pushes you to a 200 mini equivalent. It's overkill for most people, but for photography enthusiasts, it's a game changer. We have to talk about the battery, because this is where it gets complicated. If you're importing the global version, you get a massive 6510 mAh battery that easily lasts 2 days. But because of European regulations, the EU model is capped at 5,140 mAh. In our testing of that smaller unit, the battery life was just okay. It'll get you through a full day, but it's definitely not a class leader. Luckily, the charging is insane. You get 90-watt wired charging that can top you off from 0 to 100% in under 30 minutes. It also supports 50-watt wireless charging, which is faster than what most iPhones can do with a wire. So, what's the final verdict? The Vivo X300 Pro is a specialized tool. If you are a mobile photographer who wants the best zoom and the best macro performance on the planet, this is your next phone. Between the 4500 nit screen, the IP69 durability, and that Zeiss optics magic, it's a beast. But if you're a hardcore gamer who hates performance throttling, Or if you're in a region where you can only get the smaller battery version, you might want to look at the Oppo Find X9 Pro or the iPhone 17 Pro Max instead. It's not perfect, but man, those photos are hard to beat. What do you guys think? Is that 200 megapixel sensor worth the import? Let me know in the comments, hit that like button if this helped you out, and I'll see you in the next one.